Yeah, you really enabled automatic pause there, didn't you? I will say, having used the real Virtual Boy, automatic pause is would actually sounds really nice, honestly. Because maybe I'm exaggerating or maybe I'm downplaying it, but Virtual Boy is pretty unpleasant to use for extended periods of time. I think a lot of it's like pretty overblown. The whole like you'll go blind or eye strain, headaches in minutes is a little overblown, but it's not something you want to just use for super long. And how do I know this information? Well, once missing that jump only lost 1 second. Now, if I was in charge at Nintendo and if I was in that position, it was my job to turn the Virtual Boy into a successful video game system. Like, not widespread, not like 10 mil, maybe like 3 mil. Like, okay, what would I have done if I wanted... Nintendo's goal was 3 million Virtual Boys sold, and they only sold 770,000 or shipped. Number one, finish, number one, link cable. Link cable, should have come to market. Everyone who talks about Virtual Boy phrases it like the Virtual Boy wasn't on the market long enough to see the link cable or have games developed for link cable. But the fact that Mario's Tennis, a launch title for the Virtual Boy, has the link cable functionality in the ROM unused, like, that's a launch title that came very close to having link cable support, but it was taken out. That sort of leads me to believe that Nintendo never intended on bringing link cable support to Virtual Boy. Even though it's in the booklet as has its own part number and everything, Nintendo just never shipped it. Apparently at launch, well, the Virtual Boy came in the box with a battery pack, and the AC adapter was sold separate. And apparently the AC adapter didn't launch like a month later, something I heard. I mean, both those are in the booklet. So okay, you finish Mario's Tennis, give it link cable support, and actually release the link cable. then it helps it a little. Then it's not such an antisocial system. You can actually like play against players, and then that, because seeing that in action actually makes the damn thing like, oh, you kind of get the point. It kind of all clicks once you see that Mario's Tennis is supposed to be a multiplayer link cable game. Because when you just play it on your own, it's just kind of like, it's tennis. That's kind of it. But once you like see it was developed with multiplayer and link cable support in mind, it kind of all clicks like, oh, that's what they were going for Mario's Tennis. Without it, the game just feels really empty. Number 2. You postponed the release of the Virtual Boy to happen after that study about the Virtual Boy's effect on human eyes, because apparently one video I saw claimed that the research happened, and although it came to the conclusion that the Virtual Boy wasn't inherently bad for your eyes, children who haven't fully developed their eyes might develop lazy eye if the Virtual Boy's mirrors were not aligned. So that's like the worst of it. That's like the only like solid metric that's come from people studying the Virtual Boy. But the video I saw claimed Nintendo released it before the study was concluded. So there's your explanation for why the box is covered with so many warnings. Like, when it comes to what I would have changed about the Virtual Boy to make it successful, I'm not gonna go outlandish and say, oh, full color screen and AV out, because those would have been significant overhauls that would have taken years to implement. Be a totally different product if that was the case. Because a lot of people will say, oh, color was too expensive, but then some say color reflection technologies is invention. Reflection technologies hadn't even invented a color version yet. But a lot of videos make it sound like a color version existed, but Nintendo couldn't release it. Like, no, reflection technologies never made a full color version of their of the screen, because it was just too difficult. They wanted to, but they just never did before they went bankrupt. Whatever. Whatever. Whatever movement. That's the problem with these sort of things from history, is sort of conflicting takes. Conflicting information just comes from people shorthanding and not fully reading primary sources. Things start to get muddy. I know there's faster movement here, but I'm not going to do that quite yet. Oh yeah, game library. So link cable, not as many warnings on the box. Although I don't even know, like, if they had a study proving that the Virtual Boy wasn't harmful, could they have actually like gotten away with not having so many warnings on the box? I'm honestly not sure. I'm not a lawyer, because I don't know for sure. Timeline of the study versus the Virtual Boy's release. Maybe the world just wasn't ready for a VR experience like that. They most definitely weren't. Arguably, the world's not ready for VR now. That's another thing that amuses me about the Virtual Boy is the reason there's no head strap. Not just because the system became too heavy, but Nintendo's lawyers were literally afraid of what if a child falls down the stairs with the Virtual Boy strapped to their head, or they're playing it on a mountain hike or something. And like their concern is that's not a concern. That's just a concern with VR in general. So their solution was literally a stupid tripod mount, so you could just pull your head away anytime and take a break, and it's not too immersive. Basically, Nintendo didn't even want you to use the damn thing, with the automatic pausing and the stand preventing you from even immersing yourself in it. It's like they knew it was a bad idea. They were just too deep into it. But yeah, game library. You need more compelling software. One thing I heard was that Nintendo was very secretive about it, but that may have been the detriment of it. Is very few third-party devs even got their hands on Virtual Boy development tools in the first place. I mean, developers want, you know, a system that people are buying to actually sell their games on. Virtual Boy was definitely not that. But I think if Nintendo gave it their A game, basically if every game was like a Wario Land Virtual Boy, if we had more games like Virtual Boy Wario Land, it might have done well. But honestly, like a game like this may as well just make for home console. But with the N64 coming out, people didn't really want as much 2D games. I have no idea how this compares to my 80% PB. It's been a while since I've even looked at it. I just know my 80% PB failed one of the end boss quick hits, so that's like 15 seconds of free time saved there. Yeah, I think it was 15. No, it was like 20 seconds I lost because I remember calculating it. If I didn't miss the hit on the boss, I would have already had sub 20. Apparently there was a tank game that was the Affection Labs had prototyped themselves that was really addicting. Maybe something, a Battlezone port would have been fun. Yeah, a tank game would have been freaking awesome on Virtual Boy. You have the 2 D-pads. Some kind of tank sim, first-person tank sim would have been amazing on Virtual Boy. Why didn't they do that? Apparently they were, but it was cancelled because it wouldn't come because this was cancelled too soon. That's another thing no one really talks about. Like, how long of a life could the Virtual Boy have even had? Realistically, like if Nintendo didn't discontinue it so early, how long could it have actually lasted for? Because the Game Boy was still there. The Game Boy Pocket also was the thing that came out. Game Boy Color, 1998. Pokemon. Pokemon was so huge on, you know, Game Boy Color. And then where's that leave the Virtual Boy? Nowhere, really. But what if they made Pokemon exclusive for the Virtual Boy? God forbid. But then, do you really wanna... You have... Like, this is the problem. You have something that's gonna be as demonstrably popular as Pokemon, but if it only was on Virtual Boy, this $150, $180, maybe they get the price down, this giant VR headset, and you can't take it with you as easily. Like, the Game Boy was appealing because you could take it anywhere. Easily. So, despite the greater power, Pokemon and Virtual Boy would have stunk. Because the console itself sucks, so... you have Pokemon released on Game Boy Color, and then this hypothetical long-lasting Virtual Boy has to compete with that. Like, it just wasn't gonna work. So maybe like 3 mil in one more year of market would have been all they could have hoped for. Cause yeah, VR, Shmear. That's faster than my 100% PB. I don't know what fuck I did there. I don't think my PB did this either, the crouching for this part to make him attack quicker. My PB was a while ago before I knew a lot of the strats that I know now. It's kind of weird, like Nintendo was directly ordered not to make like a flagship Mario game on this system because they knew Mario 64 was coming. But the Wario Land team didn't get that memo, so they went all out with this game, making it an absolute just banger. I can do one hit on Tank and Commander. Really nice if I had my PBs splits for this. But like I said, I was silly and I deleted them by accident. Excellent! If this game had Wario Land 4's Wario voice, this may actually be the greatest game ever if it had that. Wario Land 4 is good, but I don't know if I'd call it Perfection Land 4. This is definitely Perfection Land though. Okay, I don't know the movement at all. Yeah, I do. I remember the movement for this. Fucking... Don't panic. How much time was that lost anyway? Oh, well, that pales in comparison to the time I did lose from missing a boss quick kill hit. This room is easy. Why did I think this room was hard? It's like a lot of this game, just know what to do and you're good for the most part. Gross. This is actually slower than the 100% run I did. That's fine. I think that was like 10 seconds lost, or maybe even less. Didn't know this strat before, but now I do. no threat anymore. I guess that's why I had so many save states for this part. It's like, oh, I can't belly flop the missile, but you just do that. And you're good. I remember my mind had blown. I was like, oh, he's just going the he can't follow you in the elevator. This may even be sub 20 real time. Just barely won't be. That's definitely sub 20. I just don't know by how much. Sorry that my fan has been blowing this entire time. It's hot. No treasure. Wah. Oh, sick! Skip the 19. Never seen a 19, and I never effing will. Press any key. Why that language? Doesn't Danger have a 1820 something? Gee, welcome to the 18. I knew I could get a huge PB in this. Just know by that much. Danger has an 1819. So quite a ways off. At least we popped Witch's Hex and am now part of the sub 20 club for real life.